So welcome everyone to the Layer 5 Newcomers meeting. Today is the 9th of December, and we kind of thought that it would be great to give a brief walkthrough on how you can contribute to Layer 5 projects and Meshery, so that can help new contributors make contributions quite quickly. So yeah, there is definitely a learning curve, or there is definitely some uh, preparations that you need to do before you start contributing. So uh, this meeting is to bridge the gap between newcomers and contributors. So hopefully by the end of this session, you will have some idea on how you can go ahead and start contributing to Layer 5 projects. And what I'll try to do is I will walk you through some of the resources that we have and some of the things that we do within the community, and I will finish this session off with a live walkthrough on contributing to Meshery. Uh, so before we get started, why don't we go around and introduce ourselves so that we can get an idea on what technology that you are looking at and what your level of experience is and what areas or what projects you are interested in contributing. So uh, that would be great, I guess. So I think we can start off with Abhishek, because he's on the top of the list. So Abhishek, would you like to give a quick introduction here?
Yeah, so am I audible?
Yes, Abhishek. Yeah.
Yeah, so I am Abhishek and I am undergraduate at IIIT Gwalior from India. Yep, so I am interested in Golang microservices and distributed system, and I have contributed to other projects as well, like Thanos and Kubernetes. So I am looking forward to contribute in Meshery. And like in the Meshery also repositories, I have gone through different repository, and like currently which I am looking at is Meshery CTL, and mostly, and I have kind of picked the issue also. Like I will be working on that test coverage to increase the test coverage to 80%.
That sounds really great, Abhishek. And yeah, like we will walk through Meshery CTL contribution today. So maybe that can give some context on how things are done here. Uh, Thank you for introducing. And over to you,
Yeah, that's
Arshil. Uh,
Hi,
yeah,
hi everyone. So I'm Arshil. I'm second year undergrad from India, from Nagpur University. And I have my area of interest in web development. Right now I'm a front-end web developer, and I'm right now learning backend too. Uh, yeah, I also contributed to some good community repository like Kubernetes and AppRide. Yeah, I'm hoping forward to contribute into Layer 5 projects.
nice. Have you worked on React by any chance?
Yeah, I have. I don't have good hands on it, but yeah, I've like explored it and made two of the projects.
Nice, nice. So yeah, on front end for Meshery, we use React extensively, and there is a lot of work going on there. Maybe I'll talk about it a little bit later.
Okay, sure.
Thank you, Arshil. Uh, Next up, we have Binky, Binky Shang. Am I pronouncing it correctly? Binky, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, of course. Could you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hello, Navendu. I'm Bingqi Shang, and I'm from China's third-year software engineering major. And I am completely new to the open source community, and I have mastered some, not master, I have a grasp of C++ and JavaScript and Java for the front end and backend development. So I want to get to know what contributions to make I can make to the Layer 5 community, and what projects should I start with first? And thank you.
Yeah, thank you for introducing. Coming from like if you are coming from a backend area, like we use Golang mostly on our backends. We also have some projects that are written in C++. They are not exactly the projects that are written by us, but we use those projects extensively. So a kind of an upstream project, and we also try to explore some C++ things around it and try to explore some things around it. I will share you the details over Slack after this call, I guess. But yeah, like there are a lot of other projects that you can explore, and we can go over some of these today, and or let us know if any of those hits your interest, and we'll try to help you make contributions to that.
Yeah, thank you very much.
All right. Next up, Deepanshu Arora. Deepanshu, would you like to introduce yourself?
So I'm audible. Am I audible?
Yep.
Yeah. So I'm Dipanshu. I'm currently pursuing my master's in computer science here in India. So primarily, I've worked with JavaScript, React, Node, and I've developed various web applications with it. Right now, I want to like dive deep into microservices architecture and Meshery and Kubernetes. So this project caught my eye, and I've made 2 PRs recently, and just now I've been assigned one more issue. So I'm building brick by brick and want to explore more about the project and contribute to it.
Nice. Sounds good, Deepanshu. I hope you will be able to make more contributions here, and I hope this call will help you make contributions.
Thanks a lot.
Next up, we have Gerard, who is up really early. Gerard, thank you for joining. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. I'm Jared. I'm a student at Cal State San Marcos, computer science. Mostly I've done like C++, Java, Python, JavaScript, but wanted to learn Go and some of the like Docker, Kubernetes stuff. So interested in that kind of part of the project.
Thank you, Gerard. So last week, I posted in Slack asking what kind of things that you want on the newcomers call, and Gerard was kind enough to give me some suggestions. So some of this call is oriented towards contributing on Golang side of things. So what I wanted to point out is that this newcomers call can really be tailored to fit the newcomers, what newcomers want. So feel free to drop in suggestions on what should be covered next. And if you check the meeting minutes, there is a link called tutorial recording to-do list. So basically, what we will do is based on your suggestions, we will record tutorials on contribution, or maybe a tutorial on what Meshery is, and it can be anything. So feel free to drop in your suggestions, or drop in what we should cover next in the next newcomers meeting, or have a tutorial up on YouTube. So you get the point. All right. And next up we have Osama Junaid. Junaid, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hello everyone. I am Osama bin Junaid. I'm also from India. So currently I'm also learning about React and JavaScript as well as Node. So I'm also experienced bit in Golang, and I want to contribute to the backend side of Meshery. Sorry. I also know a bit about Istio and the service Meshery trying to create. So I think it will help.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's it. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you, Osama. So we'll walk through all the different projects that the Layer5 community has on today's call. So yep, you can look into things that you find interesting. And for the people who joined late, here is the link to the meeting minutes, which is being shared on the screen. So there are a lot of resources in the meeting minutes. Check it out. You can check it out. And next on the list is Oscar Gonzalez. Oscar, would you like to introduce yourself? I think I can't hear you, Oscar. Like you are unmuted, but it's just static coming from your end. If you are having issues with your microphone, you can jump in on the chat and introduce yourself there. We still can't hear you. All right, Oscar, there is static coming from your end. Okay, thank you. Yep. So Oscar, you can introduce yourself on chat, and everyone will be saying hi to you. Next up, we have Prakar. Prakar, would you like to say hi?
Yeah, so hi everyone. I am Prakhar Agarwal. I am a second year undergrad at IIT BHU, India. So I'm skilled in React front end, JavaScript, and Next.js. So also I am also selected in GSOC 2021, in which I worked here in Core Data in the front end part. Also, I am very much interested in contributing to the layer 5, especially in the Meshery UI. So I am also exploring that, and I've picked some issues there and there is a couple of PRs. So yes, I'm working there.
That's awesome. I'm sure like there are a lot of folks in the community who will be really happy to hear that you want to work on Meshery UI, because there is a lot being done on the Meshery UI. So welcome. Next up, we have Pranav Singh. Pranav Singh is a veteran at this point, but Pranav, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Pranav Singh, and actually I've already contributed several times to Layer 5, but like sometimes I bump into problems and it's very difficult for me to figure out. So I thought it would be great to join this meeting and have a better experience of what are the best practices of like starting up the server and working with Meshery and other projects. So I joined this meeting.
Awesome, Pranav. Thank you. Yep. So we'll try to get to some of that on the call today as well. Next up, we have Praveen. Praveen, would you like to say hi?
Yeah, hi, Navinda. So basically, I just started Meshery like a couple of weeks back. So I am a senior manager in Rafa Systems. So basically, I just wanted to play around Rafa, like how their designs and all those things. I'm most interested in contributing to the design suggestions of Meshery. And also, like I would like to work on like contribution towards the Golang, like a Meshery adapters, Meshery sync, and like designing a scalable system for Meshery. That's my thinking on Meshery. Yeah.
Thank you, Praveen. Yeah, that sounds really good. Thank you for joining on the call. And finally, we have Richa Sharma. Richa, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi Ravindu. I hope you are doing great. So I'm Richard, living in Bangalore right now, India, and currently I'm an active open source contributor at Mozilla. I got selected under Outreachy last year, 2021. So till now, I am contributing to Mozilla and work. My basic work is to enhance the web extension code base and making it easy for add-on developer to develop add-ons for Mozilla. Before this, I was a product engineer at Atlan, a data workspace company which provide end-to-end data management solution to enterprises. So I was in product team and we used to make dashboard using Vue.js, React, and my current tech stack, or currently I'm working with JavaScript and C++. So yesterday night only I cloned Meshery locally in my machine. And so yeah, so my main purpose to join is for networking and to contribute more and more to open source as my as I am contributing to Mozilla. So yeah, so currently I'm not following any issue, but yeah, I would take issue in next 2 or 3 days. Yeah, that's it from myself.
Thank you, Richa. I hope you will be able to explore some repository and projects and see where you can contribute. And yeah, Mashri is our the main project that we have, and great to have you here.
Yeah, same here, same here. Thank you.
All right. I think we missed Fidal's introduction. Fidal, like, would you like to say, turn on your mic and say hi?
Hi guys, I am from New Delhi. I am a second year undergraduate doing BTech in computer science. I'm new to open source and like contributed some in October 1st. I would like to contribute to Measure UI. I mostly work with React and JavaScript. Also doing DSA with C++. Great to have you. Great to be here.
That's awesome. Thank you for introducing Fidal. And it's really great to have all of you on the call today. So let's get started with our the topics we have lined up today. I want to start by mentioning our upcoming project office hours at Kubecon China, which is on tomorrow. So Friday, it is morning in IST, but you can check out the project office hour, the timing of the project office hours in the link provided on the meeting minutes. So we'll be talking up a couple of maintainers will be joining on the call tomorrow, and we'll be walking through Meshery, and we also have another project called Service Mesh Performance. So Meshery and Service Mesh Performance are both CNCF projects, and both of these projects have office hours at Kubecon China, and a couple of maintainers will be joining the session, and we'll be talking about these projects and service meshes. So feel free to jump in, and if you are there, I'm sure like we'll give you a shout out as well as contributors to these projects. So join us at Kubecon. And as I mentioned on the call earlier, we have a newcomers form which you can fill in to get access to all the community documents. You can also get access to the community calendar, and you can add it to your calendars. So you can fill out this form if you haven't already, and get access to community drive as well. And to go over a couple of things we have in the community, we have a program called Meshmates. So I bet most of you have had an encounter with a Meshmate when you join the community. So Meshmates are community managers who help newcomers make contributions, and we have a few meshmates in our community currently, and we will be having more meshmates soon. So meshmates help you. You can always reach out to meshmates to help you get started with contributing, or they can help you navigate across layer 5 projects, and they can help you basically get onboarded to the community, and also have the community onboarded with you. So be sure to try and have a conversation with them if you haven't already, and they'll surely help you out. And you can also have a meshmate assigned to you. So if you haven't already, you can ping on Slack to mention that that you need a meshmate to help you make contributions to the community. So a meshmate will definitely come in and help you out. So coming back to some of our projects, we have a couple of websites for our different projects, as well as the Layer 5 website. So we have mainly three projects in our community. The one you might know most would be Meshery. So Meshery has a website which is hosted on GitHub pages, and the code is public on GitHub as well. So if you are interested in contributing to these websites, you can check it out. We also have a docs website for Meshery, which is based on Jekyll. So all the docs are written in Markdown, and we use Jekyll and GitHub pages to host this. We also have another project called Nighthawk. So Nighthawk also has a website as well as the Service Mesh Performance project. And other than the sites running on Jekyll, we have the Layer5 website, which itself is running on Gatsby, which I guess is built on top of React. So we do have all these websites which you can contribute to if you want to just get started. So there are a lot of open issues in all of these repositories, all of which are hosted on GitHub, and you can check it out as well. All the links will be in the minutes. And as you get familiarized with the Layer5 projects, especially Meshery and Service Mesh Performance and what they do, what you can do is you can check out the Catacada Labs. So Catacada Labs they basically provide you an environment, a sandbox environment where you can just get started with Meshery and start running performance tests, or start using Meshery to deploy service meshes, applications, and everything without having to set up the whole environment on your development machine. So you can check out this course too. So all of these courses are free, and you can go to the link I shared and just get started. So Meshery can work with all of these different service meshes. So you can just go ahead and start a scenario, and it will walk you through the entire process of using Meshery to deploying Meshery to provisioning service meshes and applications on top of those service meshes in this scenario. And yeah, we also have a couple of tutorials that were recorded earlier. So if you go to layer5.io/community/newcomers, you will see a list of tutorials that have been recorded before. So you can check out the recordings they will be on YouTube. So you can check out these past recordings on basically to learn more about how you can contribute to Meshery. Related to that, we also have a YouTube channel for Layer5, where we have a lot of playlists, and some of these playlists contain the recordings of the meetings, but there are also other playlists like this one, where we collect all of the talks that we give in public, in DockerCons, in KubeCons, and even as CNCF webinars. So we recently had a CNCF webinar called for Meshery, and you can check these playlists out as well to learn more about what Meshery is and how it all fits with the service meshes and the cloud native ecosystem. Yep. And when you go to this particular doc, what you will find is you will find all the Layer5 projects. So we have listed all the projects based on what areas they focus on, what languages they use, and what tech stack they use. So if you go to the link I shared in the chat, you will find all the different projects that all the different projects in Layer5. So we have a lot of front-end projects. As I mentioned, some of these are websites, and some of these are built into Meshery. So Meshery UI is built on React, and this is a good place to start if you are interested in front-end and if you want to contribute to Meshery. And We also have the backend projects which are written mostly, which are written entirely in Golang. So Meshery has a Meshery server, and Meshery has different service mesh adapters as well as an operator and something called mesh sync. So all of these projects are written on Golang. So if backend is your thing, and if you want to explore things in and around backend, then these projects are your go-to projects. We also have, yeah, as I mentioned, we also have a lot of adapters. So each service meshes have a dedicated adapter to work with Meshery. So all of these are written in Golang as well, and you can check that out as well. And if you are more interested in WebAssembly, so WebAssembly is a really cutting edge technology that is being adopted widely in the industry. So we do work around WebAssembly filters. So if you are interested in that, you can help us by writing some of these filters on Rust and compiling and making it public in the Wasm filters repo. So if you're interested in Rust, there is always room for you here. Yep, and yep, that's pretty much it. We have a service mesh performance repo. So service mesh performance is a specification. So yeah, so we are trying actively to improve the specification as well. We discuss SMP things in the CNCF tag network call under the service mesh working group. So you can check out the Layer5 community calendar, which should be linked somewhere here. So which is linked on the meeting minutes to see all the meetings that we take part of, and you can join in and discuss about things that are relevant to the meeting. All right. Yep, and like I mentioned before, all of our meetings are recorded, and we publish everything in YouTube. So if you missed a newcomer meeting, or if you missed a tutorial session on the newcomer meeting, you can always check back in the recordings on YouTube. So there is a playlist like I showed you before, and you can check it out. So so Richa asked, what are the timings for Kubecon tomorrow? So Richa, if you go to the link here, I guess you'll find the timings, but in IST, it is the Meshery office hours starts at 8:15 a.m. and the SMP project office hours starts at 9:15 a.m. For others on different time zones, you can check the link in the meeting minutes and RSVP for the event so that you don't miss it. Yep. So coming back to you, the newcomers, what I felt was there are a lot of people who are interested in contributing to the front end, and there are also people who are interested in looking into microservices, Docker, Kubernetes, and the whole Golang area. So what I'll try to do next is just a second. Sorry. So what I will try to do next is I will try to give you a walkthrough of contributing to Meshery. So Meshery has a CLI called Meshery CTL. It is also written in Golang, and we use the Cobra framework to write the CLI. And if you check the newcomers list, there is a tutorial on contributing to Meshery and Meshery CTL that was recorded a while back, so you can check it out. But yeah, so to give you a walkthrough, let me just go to the Meshery repo. So before I move on, I don't want to hog the mic. So does anyone else have any questions or any comments on what has happened till now. Uh,
Yeah, hi Navindu. Am
Yep.
I audible?
Yep.
Yeah, so while contributing, I found this gap that if I want to know about the why of service meshes, like for example, I'm contributing to Meshery, but I want to dive into the why of service meshes and why are we using Meshery in the first place? So what problem is it solving? So is there any reference to it which can help me know about it?
Yep. This video that this webinar that we recorded earlier this year uh, dives deep into what Meshery is and what Meshery does and how it fits in the service mesh ecosystem. So you can check it out. And we also have a resources session in Layer5, in the Layer5 website. So this session is this session has a lot of articles on what things are and how you can what all these things are. So it is being actively worked upon, and more articles are being written to this page, and you can check it out as well.
Sure, thanks.
Any other questions or comments? All right. So yeah, so let me just start from the basics and we can build from there. So Meshery CTL is hosted within the Meshery repository. So it's in the Meshery repository as well. So there is a folder called Meshery CTL, and Meshery CTL, as you might have guessed, is the command line interface for Meshery. And we have written some documentation on how you can build and run Meshery CTL. So what I will try to do is I'll try to do some of that on the call today, and you can ask me if you have any doubts. So before you contribute, what everyone should do is you must go through the contributing docs. So we have two contributing docs, one for the contribution process for the project, and the other in general about how you should adhere to the GitHub process, how you should name branches and all those things. So yep. So to get started, what you need to do is basically you need to create a fork of the repo, and I have already forked the repo, and yep. So what I do after I fork the repo is I clone the repo to my local machine. I use GitHub CLI, which is GH. So I would suggest using the CLI because it makes a lot of things easier, makes working with GitHub a lot easier. So you can just run this command on your local machine, and it will clone the Meshery repo locally. Let me just switch screens here so that you can see my terminal windows as well. Give me a second. All right. So I think you can see my VS Code. My VS Code. So I mostly use Visual Studio Code for editing. It comes with a lot of features that can help write code better. And I also extensively use the integrated terminal within VS Code. So I am in the Meshery repo, and so what I do first when I what I first do is you need to make sure that your fork is up to date with the upstream branch. So I have an alias called GFU. What it basically is it is git fetch upstream. So I fetch or any changes in the upstream, and what I do is I merge the changes in the upstream to my local fork. So to make sure that I have all the latest changes and this avoids any merge conflict. Then I do a git push so that it pushes to GitHub and to my fork. So let's just go back to Meshery CTL. So I seeded into Meshery CTL, and as you can see, the code is organized like you see here. We have this is basically how Cobra handles the CLI framework, and what we have here is we have multiple subcommands for Meshery CTL. So if you haven't tried Meshery CTL yet, what you can install it and you can just use it as how you use a normal CLI. So if you type in Meshery CTL help, you will get all the subcommands and what each subcommand does. So yeah, let's look into an issue and try to figure out how we can go ahead and contributing to that particular issue. So if I go to issues and if I want to work on Meshery CTL, what I will do is I will look for the label Meshery CTL, and there are a couple of open issues in Meshery CTL. So let's take a look into one. And the first step that that we do is to get the issue assigned to you. So as a contributor, what you need to do first is to leave a comment that you want to get the issue assigned, and to make sure that you get the issue assigned, I would suggest that you first try issues that are labeled good first issues. So if you search for the label good first issues, you will find issues that are good for newcomers. So these issues can be worked upon with very little context, or these are more welcoming towards newcomers. So some issues might not be the best ones for newcomers, as they might be critical features that might need to be delivered really fast, or they might involve the contributor having some context prior to contributing to it. So let's take this as an example. So what I do next is I take once I have the issue assigned to me, what I will do is I will create a new branch in my local repo. So we do have a naming convention in Layer5, so which are seldom followed. So and I kind of always use the Visual Studio Code's GUI to create the new branch. So what you can do is this is kind of a new feature that you want to add. So I will tag my branch as a feature, and the after the / what I will type in is my GitHub username. So it is this, and I will also tag in the issue number, which is 4444. So a feature, my GitHub username, and the issue tag. So this is the convention that we use to name branches while working. So if it was a bug, we will write bug, and if there wasn't an issue number that was opened for the particular PR that you are making, you can just give a one line of what that feature will be. So this is so that it makes it easier to get a glimpse of what has been worked upon. So if you have toggled, if you have some extensions, what you can do. So if I go here, I can find what the PR was and what the actual branch was. So it gives some context. It gives some good context when you are trying to work on this thing a little while later. So that is how we always try to name branches. And in Meshery CTL, how we work is how MeshRCTL works is how or let me refresh that. How Go works is Go can be compiled to a single binary which can be made to run across multiple platforms and operating systems. So MeshRCTL basically compiles to a binary, and we have a make recipe in the make file. So what you can do is within the MeshRCTL folder, you can type in make. This will build MeshRCTL locally, and you will have access to the MeshRCTL binary. So this is how you can test MeshRCTL. So once you make the changes to the MeshRCTL code, in order to test it, you can just run make in the MeshRCTL folder, and you can use the newly created binary which will be in that particular folder, and it will use the newly created binary. So that is how you run, how you work with MeshRCTL. And another thing that I wanted to point out, which might not be obvious to people, is to use is for using a debugger. So Visual Studio Code has a really nice integration with and debugging tools. So there is this launch.json configuration that you can use to debug MeshRCTL. I can share this in the Slack channel after we finish the meeting. So you can basically run the main.go file and pass in the arguments which will be subcommands that you want to run. So this will let you step through the MeshRCTL code that you are running, and you can basically debug it instead of compiling it to a binary and trying to trace back the logs. You can try using this and you can debug it. Same goes for the Meshery server, but I don't think I have the launch.json file right here. But you can also use the debugger, which I have found to be very helpful in both debugging and trying to understand what the piece of code does. So always using a debugger to step through functions and stepping through handlers always helps me understand what the piece of code does and how the things flows within Meshery. So I extensively use the debugger, so you can also use that as well. Yep. So that is how you build MeshRCTL and test it locally. Now let's look at Meshery. So I come back to my the Meshery folder, and the Meshery folder also has a makefile which does all the development environment setup for you. So yep, my general workflow when working with Meshery server is that I just run the server. I don't have the UI up and running all the time. So the recipe I use is make run fast. So what you can do is you can type in make run fast, and what it will do, it will spin up. It will basically build your local code base, and it will run Meshery on the 9081 port, and you can access it as well. And if you have a Kubernetes cluster running, and if you also want the UI, what you can do is you can open up a new terminal, and there is also a recipe for building UI. So first you need to do is you need to set up the dependencies. So you can run make setup UI libs, which will install all the required dependencies on your machine. And what you can do next is there is a recipe called build UI, which will basically build the UI, and it will serve it in the 4000 port, I think. So you can work in the UI as well, or you can work both in the Meshery server and Meshery UI and have it both running locally as well. So you can also look into these all the make files that we have in the other projects as well, also within Meshery as well. So most of the workflows, most of the development workflows, and most of the production workflows are written as recipes here. So let's say if you want to run your local Meshery build in a Docker container, there is a recipe for it. So basically, you can explore this makefile, and based on what you're trying to do, you will find a recipe that does what you want. And to bring another point, so once you have the changes made, and once you have committed, so while you commit, always make sure that you sign off your commits. I think Visual Studio Code has an integration, has a setting that lets you sign off all your commits automatically. So yeah, so I have it checked so that all my commits are signed, and it will not give me the DCO error. So we require all the commits to sign off, and there is a CI check that verifies this. So make sure that you always sign off your commits. And once you are ready to make a pull request, what you need to do is make sure that you always document what the change is. And when you open a PR, there is also a pull request template that pops up. So make sure that you fill in that template, and try use the keywords. So GitHub has keywords that that automatically closes an issue as you merge PRs. So you can say this PR fixes this particular issue, and once the PR is merged, or once the PR is merged, it will automatically close the issue. So yeah, so always, so when I try to make PRs, or when I try to review PRs, I always ask the people, the contributor, to document the change exactly. So Abhishek has documented the change nicely. Instead of just mentioning what the change is, he has added a screen recording so that the reviewer can easily understand the scope of the PR, and I actually see the pull request in action without having to go through the code, or without having to run all these things locally. So that is always encouraged when making PRs. Always try to give the reviewer more context, even if you feel like they won't need it. Try to give them more context, and try to make their lives easier, so that they will get the reviews done faster, and you can get feedback pretty quickly. And that is pretty much a basic workflow on how we make a contribution to Meshery. Are there any questions? Are there any questions or anything else that you would like to see now? You can even ask specific questions on Meshery, or anything that you think you have, and I will try to answer this on the call. And was this helpful? Like to some extent, I know some of you already know what Git flows is, and some of you have already been contributing to Meshery and have some context on this. But was this helpful, or would you like to learn anything more?
Yeah, I thought it was very helpful.
Thank you, Gerard. So since you mentioned that you wanted to look into Golang or anything, would you like me to look into something else, or would you like me to explore something more on the call now? Or
I mean, sure. Or I don't know if anyone wants to go through something else on here. I don't want to hijack the call, but
Yep. You can go ahead, Jarod. Like if you have any other things that you want to discuss.
I guess
Just,
so. I did pick up an issue a couple weeks ago, and honestly, just kind of picked it up because I figured if I picked one up, it would motivate me to be more involved, but not entirely sure where to start on it.
could you share the link to the issue that?
Sure.
Okay. So this is a Meshery CTL issue. So let me try to walk through this issue. Okay, so Meshery CTL perf profile is a Meshery. The perf subcommand is a command that runs performance tests with Meshery. So Meshery CTL perf profile, what it does is it fetches the performance profile from the Meshery server and displays it on the terminal. So what this ask here is yep, what the ask here is there is if the so making a request to the Meshery server and retrieving the performance profile details require an access token. So if you run Meshery CTL system login, you will get an access token in your .meshery folder. So if that token is missing or if that token is expired, the Meshery CTL perf command, what it does is it throws an unhelpful error. So it for a user, it doesn't make sense what the fail to make a request, what this means. So what we want to have here is this particular error message. So what we can tell the user is that if the token is not found or if the token is expired, what we can do is we can ask the user to supply a valid user token by running. You can log in. You can get the token by running Meshery CTL system login. So that is the error message that we want to display to the user. So what we need to have here is we need to catch this particular error that we get when the token is expired or if there is a lack of a token, and we need to have that error displayed on the terminal when the user runs into that error. And this needs to be and we need to have the same behavior across all the other commands. So Meshery CTL, perf, mesh, app, and patterns, all the commands use the authentication token to talk to Meshery server. So we need to have the same UX across all these commands as well. And yep, looking like to help Jarod get some context. So if you look into Meshery CTL perf profile, let's look into where we fetch the token. So yep, if you look into this function, I think this is the function that makes the get request to Meshery server and tries to get back the result. And okay, we do have an error for the case where we don't have a token, but we are not catching the error when there is a token, but the token is expired. So what we probably need to do is when we make a request, when we get an error message, I think the error message that we have currently might be coming from this function. Yep. it says failed to make a request. So we need to do a bit more intelligence checking here to see if the token is expired or if the token is invalid. So what we can do here is add a check around this and maybe have a better user experience for the user, but the functionality would essentially remain the same, I guess. Does that give some context, Gerard?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. So how often does a token expire?
I think the ones we have, so we have a token and we also have a refresh token. I'm not quite sure. I think it lasts for a day, I guess. And we have a refresh token. So if you keep using Meshery, then there's no need to get an updated token. It gets refreshed automatically. But I'm not sure for the case in Meshery CTL. But if the token expires, you can always run Meshery CTL system login, or you can go to the Meshery UI and download the token from there and have it on your local machine to authenticate Meshery CTL as well. But I think I will get back to you on the lifetime of the tokens. We also have we recently added the capability for infinite tokens, so tokens that never expire. So we are using those infinite tokens within the CI/CD pipeline, so we don't have to update the token frequently. So things work in the CI very well. So yeah, I think I will get back to you on this, and I will try to give you some more context on the error message that you can check for, like maybe Meshery server can give a better error message on when we try using an expired token, so that you can use it you can check for it here and provide a better user experience to the user. Yep, I will get back to you on that, Gerard. Any other questions? Dibanshu, thanks for joining, and I'll see you in the community. So Gerard, like, are you clear to go ahead on like basically building Meshery CTL locally and testing it out? Like, are you comfortable with that now?
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
Nice.
So I guess if I fork Meshery, then I can build my own local binary, is what you were saying, to test it out. Okay.
Yep. So as you make changes, and you can use the make command within the Meshery CTL folder to build your own binary, and you can reference that binary when you run the commands, instead of having to use the one installed globally. So yeah, and does anyone else have questions that I can answer now?
Yeah, so I have one question. So currently I saw that Meshery UI restructuring is undergoing. So I wanted to know more about it. Yeah, so what are we doing there?
Sure. So yeah, let me just go back to. So if you go to Meshery repo, there is a branch called.
You're the last one, I guess.
Yep. So there is a branch called Meshery UI Restructuring. So what we are trying to do is we are trying to use Redux within Meshery. So Nitish Karthik, one of the maintainers of Meshery UI, have been working on advancing this area. So if you go to the meeting minutes for the Meshery development call, we have weekly updates on this particular area, on advances in this particular area. So if you go to the proposal, you will find details about what this initiative is and what we are trying to do. And there is also a tracker, progress tracker here, where there are multiple tasks listed, and people have been contributing to those particular tasks as well. And there is this README file in the message Ui restructuring branch as well, where you can look into to get an idea on how you can set up your development environment, and what all the things are, and what the conventions are and everything. So you can check that out as well. And yeah, I'll share the link to the mastery development meeting minutes as well, so that you can check. And we have updates on this every Wednesday, so you can jump on the mastery development call as well to look into this.
Thanks.
What extension do you use for Golang code in general? I use the one provided by Microsoft, I guess, the official one, I guess. That's pretty much it. So yeah, it's from the Go team at Google, so I use this extension. It does most of the stuff. Yep. I'm realizing I have a lot of extensions and stuff.
So like, do you use one for debugging as well?
Yep, I forget its name, but there is this default debugger for Go. I'm blanking out on this name. I use the Dell debugger. It also integrates with VS Code, so you can use it within VS Code to debug things. I think it works for me really well. Yeah, I just use the GUI from VS Code to launch the debugger and run tests. So yeah. Any other questions?
One question, Navindu, like where can I find design documents for this machine?
Yep. So we have the UI designs in Figma, and we also have some design documents within our community drive. So once you sign up on the newcomers form, you will have access to community drive, and there are design specifications for all the features that we are building, and you can check the projects folder, and there is a functional and architecture design folder within which you can find design documents for new features that you are building and all those things.
Sure. Thanks.
And if you are working on the front end, and if you need access to Figma, you can just mention it on the Mastery UI channel on Slack, and one of the maintainers will come in and give you access, so that you can check in the design.
Yep, got it.
All right, I think that's all the questions we have. And if you have anything else, feel free to reach out to me on Slack, and or on the Discuss forum. So if you have questions, or if you have something that you need to discuss, the discuss.layer5 forum is the best place to ask questions and interact with other people. So do check it out, and feel free to tag me when you are asking questions, and I'll try my best to answer those. This also ensures that we keep the conversations public, and the history of the conversations is persisted. So do check it out. I guess that's it for today's call. It was nice interacting with you, and I hope it was a productive session for you as well. And oh, I just saw the time, and we are already 7 after. So let's wind up the call, and I'll see you guys in the hopefully on tomorrow's project office hours, and on tomorrow's community call. So bye everyone.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Bye, Navinda. Thanks for the call.
Bye.